So before we get started looking at this crazy dynamic piece, I gotta say, this doesn't impress me much. But you know what impresses me? You know what's amazeballs? This bell right here. Take a look. Unbelievable. Hey guys, welcome to the Extreme Channel. My name is Mr. X. We have another collectible in the office. It's a Spider-Man piece, obviously. And again, I do second time apologize for some of the lighting and the sound. First of all, I'm going without a mic. Second of all, it's pretty late on Friday night, and usually I have some light filtering in, but it's dark outside. Mrs. X thinks I'm working, which this is kind of work, enjoying collectibles, right? So this is an extreme collectible for sure. So this is a custom 1/4 scale Spider-Man Symbiote diorama. Hopefully you know what most of that meant. If you don't, go watch any of my other videos. I describe most of it. So this is what people call the Black Spider-Man. And if you're unfamiliar with that storyline, in a nutshell summary, an alien costume, which is called a symbiote, came to Earth, tried to merge with Spider-Man. He got it off of him with some bells, and then it got onto another reporter named Eddie Brock and became Venom, one of my favorite characters. Now, I purchased this because at the time I purchased this, I did not own a Black Spider-Man. However, have you probably seen before, I got this piece in right here, this symbiote Black Spider-Man, which I quite like as well, and he's actually behind me. I'm not sure if you can see him in the camera. But obviously, this is much different. This is a very dynamic statue. He has one of his main adversaries, Shocker. And by the way, I already filmed the paint and sculpt part you're going to see. I might have called him Shockwave because it's so late and I'm so tired. If I did, cry through it. You'll be fine. Totally defeated, totally messed up, and there's a ton of switch outs on this piece, as you see we'll talk about in design. The first thing I want to talk to you guys actually is about the concept of this piece, which is where this piece really shines and what really attracted me to it. So we have what is assumably a monument or a building or a bell tower, kind of a hint there's a bell on the other side. And there's some cool Easter eggs we'll talk about in paint and sculpt. And as you move up, this place is damaged, destroyed. Maybe it was destroyed in the battle from the Shocker, who knows. But Spider-Man has won this battle. So the Shocker is hanging by Spider-Man or the symbiote. He has him completely webbed up, hanging in defeat. Spider-Man is an extremely dynamic, which is kind of like an live action position, hanging off the building, hanging off him, maybe leaping. And it looks very, very cool. There's a ton of stuff on the back that you don't even necessarily see, which we'll look at in a few moments. But I love it. It shows Spider-Man using his power. It shows him defeating an enemy. It shows an enemy that, to my knowledge, there's very few statues of Shocker done. At least I've never seen really any videos of the Shocker. Well, of the Spider-Man character, the Shocker. So it's great. I love the concept. It's incredibly different. Many times you do see Spider-Man near the top of a building or a monument, but this ties in Shocker, this ties in the symbiote suit, this ties in the bell, which is a huge part of the storyline with the suit, and obviously not this specific battle necessarily, but it's kind of an Easter egg they tied in, just like some of the Green Goblin stuff. So it's very cool. I think they incorporated a lot of parts of this particular character and this time in his story. It's a very dynamic statue. I think it really grabs your attention. I think the concept's a 5 out of 5. I really, really like it. I think the one thing missing is a lot of people may not like to see the Shocker completely destroyed. But Spider-Man, when he had the symbiote suit on, he was much stronger. Now we're going to jump into design, and there was a few issues because assembly actually wasn't that easy. And I'll start out with an assembly video where you'll actually see a cut because I just gave up.
So one very tall box, and it actually was pretty heavy. Most of the weight was in the base itself. The base was incredibly heavy to stop leaning issues. It had 2 different layers. Here's one all wrapped up. Here are the individual pieces in that layer, and then the bottom layer had the bigger parts.
So FYI, assembling stuff on camera is really intimidating. It's kind of like the time when you're with your new partner and you got to strip for the first time. You're always self-conscious. Okay, it's probably nothing like that. But as you saw, there's actually a couple switch out options. I'll talk about that and then I'll talk more about the assembly you missed. So first, Spidey has 3 different portraits and they're all very, very similar other than his eyes. So you have kind of squinted, smaller eyes. Then you have medium eyes. And God, I hope you can figure out that the last one has large eyes. Now, you don't have to display this awesome bell if you don't want to. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the bell and the inside joke at the beginning later. But there is a switch out broken building piece that keys in place. But the bell's also on the back side like this. So you're never really going to see it unless this is a centerpiece. I actually looked at some other collector's pictures when I was trying to figure some stuff out, and they weren't even showing this. Now, as you saw in the assembly video, shocker is also optional as well. Here's a picture of, obviously, him on there that you're looking at. And to me, you almost want to display him. I mean, that's kind of what makes the statue really unique. But if that's not your flavor, here is a building piece that keys in where he was. Now, first of all, I give them a lot of props for the engineering of this. The bell is actually almost hung. So this hangs into this, which keys into the building. So very impressed by that. I like all the different switch out options where you don't have to display it. Same with Shocker. Obviously, the dynamic part of Spider-Man, I give them a lot of props. These bust displays, which we'll look at during paint and sculpt, to hold the extra portraits. That's huge points in my mind. But this webbing was the huge issue. So it has 3 parts that key in down here. 1 into Shocker's shoulder. 1 into Shocker's hand, which keys into Shocker's wrist. The other one keys in around Shocker's hand into his body, and then you have to make it go through Spider-Man's hand up here. And mine broke while doing it because there was too much tension on it. This shipped from China, and obviously weather fluctuates. It's an easy break to repair, so it's not really a big deal, but obviously that's going to be an issue. Now, my other issue with design is this right here. What the fuck is that? Anybody? I seriously don't know. But so overall, I think they went really ambitious. They were able to pull it off. Webbing really is the only issue. Otherwise, and you know, that weird ass cum stain dripping out. But other than that, I give them a ton of props. I think the design's a 4 out of 5 for the simple fact there are tons of switch outs that work really well. I think that adding these extra bust displays, and they're just awesome, is a big props to them as well. So now we're going to dive into the paint and sculpt. And again, if I say Shockwave, I can't remember. I do apologize. And again, if that really offends you, your mom told me you'll be okay. All right, so let's dive into this guy. Well, the sun's still up. So let's look at the bust display first. Pretty cool. I love that they did this. I don't even remember them doing it, as I said. But I love how the tendrils are wrapping around. It's truly your transformation of symbiote. You know, people always think of the Venom transformation, but never when the suit was actually on Peter Parker. So I love how they did that. We'll talk more about the texture of the suit and the portrait when we get to the regular body. Pretty cool. So let's start with this monument or building that he's on. The choice of direction on the colors, I think, works really well with the statue. It kind of connects some of those bright colors to the darker colors of the bell. You see a fade of different bronze and browns, and then almost some, you see the bricks back there. So an old style brick, so no question, it's an older type building. I love the little green goblin heads that they put down below. One of them smashed up. Cool Easter egg in there. And I don't know if these white parts were supposed to be lights. If they were, that's pretty cool. I mean, obviously ones that don't light up. But I like the shading on here. Really reminds me of the recent Batman statue I got, the blue Batman statue. So really quick, the wood looks fantastic. These broken boards down here, the paint, the texture, love the grain of them. Looks like real wood. They did a fabulous job on that. This one has a cable around it. And the bell, so when they revealed the proto paint, they were talking about how amazing the bell looks. It was kind of an inside joke. So very few people got that, but I like that they added this blue effect to it. I think that mixes it up a little bit from the rest of the building. There's a few cool designs on there. I love the crack. More conceptually, this is fantastic, despite the fact we talked about it's in the back, but it's all dented up. I love that. Look at the top of it, looks even better. These metal cables around it, and again, some fantastic wood. A few pipes sticking out up top, our irons, cables. Let's look at Shocker. So this is my first Shocker statue actually, but my first classic Shocker, obviously. I like it. There's some subtle texture. If you look close, like at the portrait here. He really looks defeated too. I like that. You know, there's some folds in his red costume. These colors aren't really a fan. I'm not a fan of these colors, but they do look good with this character. And then his top of his boots here almost looks like these aren't the top of the boots, but they look more metallic, which I don't think they were trying to go for. I think they were trying to go for like the inside of the boot folds out. So a ton of texture right here. And again, I'm probably going to display this up high. The height should fit. So you'll see a lot more of that. And then some black shadowing in those red parts of the costume, especially along the boots. The webbing. Spider-Man's webbing is so hard to do. I've never seen anyone do it amazing. This doesn't look bad at all. I like the fact that it is really bunched up because it is holding somebody up. So that follows the storyline. And you know, it's gonna be white, it's gonna be clear. It doesn't look like twine or anything like that, like I've seen in a few statues, or even that one right up there. So it looks okay. But again, I've never seen what good looks like in that. So regarding the suit, I love the ripple effect all over it. This texture almost makes the suit look alive, so it's not a smooth Spider-Man symbiote, kind of like my other one was. Classic emblem going from the back to the front. It is protruded. The pads on the hand, just like Venom has, and again, everything's protruded. The eyes are protruded. It's so hard to see with the lighting, and I do apologize for that. So really, I'm kind of a mix. On a lot of this stuff, it's nothing that wows me. Like I said, I really like the concept, but the paint and sculpt, I think it's good. Not fabulous, not amazing. So on the extreme scale, I want to clarify. So 1 is trash, like absolutely, I hate it. 2 is ugly, man, they missed the mark. 3 is very good or very nice, which is not a bad score, but it's kind of average when we look at high-end statues. 4 is a rail, as a statue, not quite a grail, but something you'd really want. And X is a grail or the absolute best. And honestly, the paint and sculpt on these guys, they both fall into the 3. I think they're both very good, very nice. You know, I think it'll look a lot better with more lighting on it, and I'm actually currently setting up lighting. I'll do another room tour probably in a month or 2 for you guys here with all the lighting set up. It's done very well. It's missing a little bit of the micro detail on like the base and some of the things of that. But like I said, where it really shines is the concept. So let's talk about value for this piece. This guy cost $1,000. He was $1,000 plus shipping from China was about $300. So you're about $1,300 all in, but it does have 2 1/4 scale characters, 2 additional portrait busts. So I think it's priced very competitively, especially with like an edition size of 50 or so. I don't remember what it was, but it was right around 50. It was probably on the bottom during the unboxing video. So it's about twice the price of a normal 1/4 scale, but like I said, you get an extra character, you get extra display busts, you get all these switch outs, and it's a very low edition size, and I think it's a great addition to any Spidey collection, especially with so few statues done of this bottom character here. And realistically, not a ton of the symbiote suit. There are a decent amount of choices. There's about 40 more Spider-Man in his classic costume options. So on the value, again, I think it falls between a 3 and a 4. I am going to say 3 though, because that's a lot of money, $1,300 for a 1/4 scale statue, despite the fact you get 2 characters. It was almost a 4, I think. Now, does this have the X factor? So is this a 5 out of 5 statue overall? I don't think he is. You know, some of the pieces I review are some of the most amazing paint and sculpt I've ever seen. I wouldn't say that about this piece, but I am a big fan of it. I like the concept a lot. Like I said, I think you need to display him high. That's more of a design thing we should have talked about more. Also, you can't see the bell. Maybe display him from the side. Nah, that doesn't look good either. You have to display him from the front, and then you lose the most amazing part of the statue, this amazing bell. I know what you're thinking. Get your nuts off that bell, Mr. X. I did. They were only on there for a little bit. But overall, I think it's a very good statue. It's a 3 out of 5 on this piece is the overall score. Like I said, very happy to display it. As long as I keep a Spider-Man collection, he will probably be in it as well. So congrats to everybody who got him. If you like stuff like this and you haven't subscribed, 50% of you haven't, so make sure to hit that Mr. X logo, then the bell notification. Otherwise, I will talk to you tomorrow while you can check out some of these other custom statues. Take care.